Coach Kristen, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you today because even in your busy schedule, I know lots of things are going on in your personal life and busy with your business, but you decided to contribute an article to our magazine, the February issue. So that's what this is about. So thank you for doing that. And those of you who haven't signed up for our magazine, we publish our magazine every 2 months, so bi-monthly. And it was called Parenting, Learning, and Living before. Now we changed to Learning, Living, and Leading because it's more universal. And this issue is so special to us because we're so tired of trying hard, right, Kristen? Just try
Absolutely.
harder. We've been trying hard since we were born, and we're just so tired. We want some peace. So we want to introduce what we've been working behind the scene, our Readiness OS. This is the new era. We're entering, the AI is here, but we need something new. We can't try harder all the time. It's too much work, right? Right, Kristen?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So before we begin, I always like to bring you here and now, because I don't know about you, and Kristen will agree with me as well, Coach Kristen. You know that most of us spend a lot of time thinking about our past.
Oh, yeah.
On a daily, right? We somehow pulled into our past situation, and you're not even thinking about it. You just get pulled into this conversation with your brain, right? So many times. And then we sit there and we think about it, and then we start thinking about our future. Guess what happens? We just visited our past, and we just have so much memory of that past, and we take that and project it onto the future. Now we have a future plan based on the past experience. So now we're kind of torn. In the past, I'm not happy. In the future, I see so much uncertainty and so much worry and fear. Now I'm stuck in both places, but the only place that's available to you, me, and everyone who's watching us is the place here and now. This is the only moment we have. But somehow we have all learned to be in the past, thinking about something we've already happened to us, and replaying that again and again and again, as if there's going to be something that's going to change in that situation. It's already happened. It already happened, right? So the only thing we can do is really let it go. Just take the lessons and let it go. It has to go. Because if we keep visiting, we can't be here and now. And if you're not here and now, you can't create anything. You cannot even think about anything because we're busy, right? You're not alone. I do this, but I'm able to bring it here and now all the time. And Kristen, do you do that as well? Catch yourself and say, come back over here. This is the space I need to create.
Yeah, it's a daily practice for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hourly, and sometimes it's every minute. Right?
Yeah.
Pulling yourself back to the present right here. And then the future is also beautiful, but if I keep projecting my past onto it, it's scary. Right? And I can't really go there and create that yet. It's available to me. I know it's coming. It's available to me. Only thing I can do is bless it and just release it. I can't worry about it, right? If I worry about it, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen. But here, now, in this moment, if I bring my hand here, I can do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So before we get started, we always love to bring ourselves here and now by breathing. I know some of you who are watching my thing, oh, breathing, such a simple thing. Why would you even talk about that? It is simple because as humans, you know what? We forgot the simple things. We're looking for profound things and hacks and strategies, but the simple thing of breathing is how we ground. This is our first breath. Breath is our thing that we remember. The first thing we took on this earth was a breath. So we need to remember it and feel it in every part of our body, every cell in our body. And we don't do that because we're so busy. We're so busy in the past. We're so busy in the future. We're never here to even witness our own breath. So Kristen, if you don't mind with me taking inhale for 4. And those of you who are watching us, take inhale for 4 and hold for 4. And let it go, everything, any worries, any stress, anything that you've been, feeling today, just let it go for 8. Just drop, just through your mouth, let it go. I know there's so much thing going on. Everybody's life is so busy, so stressful, so much things happening. We need to learn to bring ourselves here and now and take another deep breath. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. And really let it go. Even the shoulders, just drop and let it go through your mouth. Ooh. Right? Because we don't breathe like this. We breathe, but we don't breathe like this because we got to feel it. So one more time, let's take an inhale for 4. Hold for 4. And if you're by yourself, just make the loudest noise. I don't want to scream at you, but you can make the loudest noise and let everything go. Everything that's happening in your life, just let it go and come back here and be with us now and here, because we have some things to share with you. And as I said, our magazine is out. If you want to read this, it's free. It is full of wisdom, and we don't give generic answers to anybody or generic advice to anybody, but there is so many things we're sharing about our life. Like our life, I used to say, try harder. Everybody used to tell me, try harder. Kristen, how about yourself? Did anybody tell you to try harder?
Oh, yes. Every teacher, my parents, it's something people just say, like it's like a knee-jerk reaction. Just try harder. And it's like,
Yes.
what does that even mean?
Yes. So in your article, you said that you were trying incredibly hard. Not just harder, but incredibly hard. So why didn't it all work, Kristen? You were trying hard, incredibly hard. It should have worked. Why didn't it work?
Yeah, I mean, thinking back to just my time studying and preparing during school for exams and classes, I did everything I feel like a model student should do. Take the notes, visit teachers after hours, join study groups, all of that. And it's like, I'm trying, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. And sometimes it just didn't work. And it felt like, come on, like, why
Try
isn't
harder.
this working?
Did you not try harder?
And then I started to feel like something wrong with me. But I realized that as becoming a holistic neurogrowth learning success coach, that's not an identity I need to take on.
Yeah. So what is the difference between putting in effort and being ready?
What is the difference between...
Like, I'm putting effort. You put in a lot of effort, didn't you, Don? Like you just said, you were like the model student. Your effort was great, but then sometimes the results weren't there. And if the results didn't show up, we started blaming ourselves and calling ourselves names, right? So what is the difference between effort? We all put effort, I think.
Yeah.
But readiness.
Readiness is about... It's about taking on just having this feeling of safety. And I think that's really important, and this trust in yourself, because I think back to all these times I'm like scrambling and studying and doing all these things, but I wasn't trusting myself. It didn't feel safe or right. And if that feeling is not there, then I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to move forward. I was stuck in this kind of survival mode. I'm just going to do everything everyone tells me to do, but I wasn't just ready to move on until I learned to feel safe with who I am and what I'm doing.
Yeah, because we assumed that as students, our school system assumes that we as a person would come into the classrooms or come through those doors ready to learn, be in the state to learn, and be ready to do things that are being demanded. But we are a biological system, and we're in a living environment that has so many variables coming at us, right? Even a good effort, if I'm not ready, it won't land. That's why so many times we have students who say, I studied all night and I still failed.
Mm-hmm.
right? I tried all my best and I still didn't get what I needed to get. So we have so many stories like that, right? So what effort was there? What wasn't there? Their body wasn't ready. Their systems were not ready. And they were forced to do something. They did force it on them and they did study hard, but the results don't show. Right?
Right.
So
Yep.
that's a big difference between that, right? So when does try harder actually makes things worse? Like, for you, when did it make it worse?
When did trying hard make it worse?
So when somebody says try harder, like somebody's telling you when you were young, go back to that, in your article, you shared some stuff, right?
Yeah, I feel like I was definitely pushed to try harder when I was younger because, I had parents that were just trying to take care of other things and not really understanding what was going on for them was affecting me as well. So I feel like when they would just say, try harder, or even like raising their voice, or teachers who would just, say things to me that didn't feel good, like they would also raise their voice. I realized I see that a lot, because when you're frustrated, you end up just raising your voice because you're like, why isn't this working? And then that again creates this feeling of unsafety, and you feel like I'm doing something wrong and maybe I need to try harder. And it's like this, it's just this bad cycle.
It's a vicious cycle, right? And then you start saying, I'm probably not trying hard. And what level is hard? Like, what is the hardest level? Like, who determines the hardest level? How far is the hardest go up to, right? Like, there's no measurement. So if somebody keeps telling us try harder, 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 I'm like, I am trying hard. I've already done what I can to my capacity that my systems is allowing. After this, I don't know, then something's wrong with me. Right? This is what happens to a child. This is what happens to our students. Repeatedly try harder. And this is what happened to you and I too, right? Because we don't know how to try harder. At some point we have to say, I don't know. I give up. And that is a bad state, right? So, you have 2 daughters. You've been a teacher for so long, and you're now into your business as a holistic, neurogrowth learning success coach for years now, right? So how can parents tell the difference between a child who needs encouragement and a child who isn't ready yet? Because that encouragement and ready also goes together, like effort, right?
Right. I think parents can definitely tell the difference between, when trying these encouraging phrases and words and trying to be supportive. That can be something you are doing already to help someone who is experiencing success and already feeling ready to move forward, versus when somebody is not feeling ready and stuck. And that's like that idea again. It's like once you experience that feeling of frustration, and you can see that there's this lack of confidence and this afraid to try, there's a fear building in. That is really when I feel like saying things like good job, or you're doing, saying those supportive phrases, that's not gonna be effective. It's not gonna cut it.
So I guess what you're really saying there is that the state matters, right? What state are they in at the moment of your encouragement? Is what you were saying. Like, if they're in a state of, okay, they're already having some success and they're feeling it and they're kind of happy about it, and then you say, you know what you just did is great, amazing, you're doing great, keep it up, right? And they feel it, okay, I'm okay. But if they're failing and if they're not, and you keep encouraging them, you know what, you can do it, it also can backfire, Because at that point, the identity has shifted for that person who's struggling. They no longer have any beliefs that they can do anything. And if somebody says, I believe in you, you can do it, you're like, I don't know, right? We go internally and we get scared. How am I going to prove this? They believe in me and then I'm scared. I can't ask for help. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody says, yeah, I know you can handle that. Don't worry. You're Kohila or you're Kristen. You can handle anything, right? And you're like, no, I can't. I don't know. And then you can't ask because they believe in you. That encouragement is not good for me at that moment, right? Is what you're saying, right? The state matters.
Right.
And you have to really study your state of your child as a parent. Where are they? At what point are we giving that encouragement, right? And that's very important. That's very important. How about with your daughters? How do you deal with that encouragement versus?
Well, I think it's really important that, especially, I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, so it's different. With my 9-year-old, I realize that I have to be really curious. I think there's a really good approach about how she's doing things and really focusing on that. And really, actually, for both of them, because once I start to just look at the results of what they're doing, or just, which can be very easy to do, because I feel like that's the way a lot of us grew up.
Produce, productivity,
Yeah.
performance.
So when we really talk about how they're doing the things they're doing, whether it's good or bad, and having a conversation about it, that is when I can see they're thinking more thoughtfully about it, thinking more deeply about it. And because of that, they either can become more curious, because I'm not, shaming them for having good or bad results, or praising them for good or bad results.
That's awesome. So curiosity. You're saying curiosity
Yes.
is really important for parents to stay in that. And that's one of the things we've lost, right? Through the years, we have lost curiosity, and young children also have lost, and that could come from a lot of different things, right? So curiosity is what you use with your family.
Yes, I think curiosity is really important to just stay engaged and help them discover more and understand more, and understand their own feelings of being ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a person, we have to unlearn a lot of things, right? Because even as a coach, we do a lot of unlearning, because our school system, we are all product of the same school system, right? The education system. So we are embedded with productivity, performance, grades, look good, act well, always say you're perfectly fine and smile even though you might not be feeling good, right? These are things we learned, right? So we need to unlearn a lot of things as adults, right? So what was one of the things that you had to unlearn? Because your article was about this. So
Yeah, I think one of the things I had to unlearn was how just pushing harder and doing more is not going to make things better.
What do you mean? Kristen, now if someone's going to think we're both lazy or something, we have to push through. We have to try hard.
Yeah. And I think also realizing that this is not something that needed to be fixed. It was just working at a pace, and understanding that this was just something I inherited and was taught, and I just need to realize that that wasn't the right way, and I just need to shift and realign into understanding that I need to be ready to try and learn and grow and do the things. And when I do, then I can move forward.
Yeah. So you had to unlearn not to live by the script of others' expectations, others who have placed they actually placed another rhythm for you, not based on your own soul biology rhythm, but their own expectations were placed on you, and you took that as your own rhythm, and you tried to, we all try to force ourselves into somebody else's rhythm, and unfortunately I'm not capable because my soul wasn't built that way. Your soul wasn't built that way, right?
Yeah.
And then it takes so long to figure that out. It takes so long because the first thing we do is we blame ourselves when those expectations are placed. So that was your biggest thing to unlearn?
Yes.
Other people's expectations placed on you that affected
other people. Yep. And just trying to please them and do what I was being told to do, and realizing that what they think might work for me isn't necessarily going to work for me.
So tell me, this actually relates really nicely with what you're saying. So why is compliance often mistaken for capability? Because when you complied, right? When you complied with their expectation, they thought you had the capacity and capability to do things. But did you though?
No. Yeah, I think, compliance is, I think really it's because of the way our education system is structured, unfortunately, and it hasn't been changed for decades. So it's really sad that people think that if you can just do what you're told, then you're not bothering me. It's not a problem. So I'm going to leave you alone. You're doing what I'm telling you to do. Keep doing that. And then, but the moment you're not doing what you're told, you're a problem. You're going to be mislabeled as a behavior problem or some kind of problem.
Attitude. And you might have attitude by then, because you're showing me an attitude.
Yeah. So it's really unfortunate that so many kids and even adults out there are being mislabeled as a problem because they're not complying to the standards or the way things are set out or rolled out.
So how do you help your daughters get ready? Like, how do you know they're ready as a mom? Because when we talk about readiness OS and everything, people kind of confused. Like, what are you guys talking about? Ready mean what? Get ready, like put dress up, ready? Like, what is ready looks like? So tell me, how do you know your daughters are ready? Give us an example.
I think one example I can share is that I actually learned with my youngest daughter. So in the morning, she actually really loves to sleep. Loves sleep. Like me, I love sleep. And in the morning, it was really tough to wake her up. So there were a few things I realized, because a lot of times now, especially with the way we wake up, it's like set an alarm and, it's like, bah, 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 and it's like, she did not, it just was not a good way to wake her up. So I learned that I'm going to just sit at her bed and gently nudge her and say, what would you like for breakfast? Would you like this or that? And then I realized because she loves to eat, she loves having big breakfast too all the time, like all these different things. And she's like, oh, I want this and this and this. I'm like, great, let's go downstairs. I'm going to start making it. And that was just so much of a better transition than me like, wake up. Like the way you think you're supposed to wake somebody up because they're not listening to you or they're not, and then I realized, well, sleep is really important to her. So she can't be going to bed at 9 o'clock. We need to make sure that we have a really structured rhythm in the evening, and we talk about it too. That's another important. Like, I can't just set up these rules for her and say, like, you need to do this and that and that. We talk about in the morning when she wakes up. Now I'm like, doesn't it feel so good now that you had your belly's full and you had a good breakfast and you had a good night's sleep? And she's like, yeah. So now she like tells me like at night, like, I'm tired, I want to go to bed. Like, so it's not like a fight to like put her to bed, because she understands the value of sleep. I don't know if that was like something I ever realized I needed to communicate to her, because you just realize as an adult, like, I need sleep to function the next day really well. So
we don't explain a lot of things to our kids, right? Because kids would love to learn about sleep and rhythm and how much sleep do I need and what does sleep do for me and my brain, and all of those things that's part of readiness as well. Understanding my biological systems. I'm a biological living thing. And so I need to know how I work so I can work better. I can use those knowledge to work myself better, right? But we don't give those knowledge to our kids that much, right? There's not education on it either in the education system. So as parents, we have to. So another thing that you said there was, you didn't go and upset her by putting the alarm. You know she likes food and she likes to eat good food. So you actually started getting her ready for that food. Her in a biological systems, when they want something, you had her desire, you worked with her desire to wake her up. And that was an easy transition. Otherwise, if you just put an alarm, that was a strict thing. Get up, go, you need to be on time. Why don't you understand this? These kind of conversation, when a child's not ready and in their space, it's useless, right? That's why we get angry, and that's why we feel upset in the morning, and we all start the morning wrong, and we think why. So I love that you said you teach her about it, and then she understands how her body works, how much sleep does she need. And when I wake up, I'm going to get a good breakfast, so I need to get up in time to eat my breakfast. If it's big enough, she needs some time to eat it too, right? So those are what readiness means. Readiness means understanding your biological systems, right? All the systems that working for us, and then seeing that, okay, there's an issue here. How do we make this child or this person understand that there are things we need to do? How are we going to get those done? And that's one of the ways to look at it. It's not the only way to look at it, but that was a great example. Thank you, Kristen. So what beliefs about struggle had to fall apart for you? What beliefs about struggle?
I think when you struggle, you feel really weak and defeated, which I think is actually normal, but then you have to actually realize that you're struggling because something is not working and it's trying to teach you that you need to do something different. And the way you're going about and doing it now just doesn't match the way you need to work and do things. So I really had to learn that struggling is just teaching me I have to try a different way. This is not working, so let's try something else, instead of feeling like, oh, I just can't do it, because that's not the way to go about doing it. Because there's been a lot of things I struggle with, but once you realize that you can just try a different way that actually works for you, you can be really successful and open up many new paths and doorways.
Yeah, and also realizing, like, how many times am I going to go through this struggle loop? Like, we're always looping in something, right, in our life, right? If it becomes a pattern, we're looping similarly in similar situations again and again. People pleasers will similarly loop around people pleasing and feeling depleted because I people please 24/7 and I feel drained, but I'm going to keep doing it because this is all I know. But as you said, if you start catching yourself and going, you know what, how many times am I going to go around this struggle again? It's a struggle, right? So we talk about talking to your brain, right? You got to talk to your brain about this. We have to do an audit here. Hello,
right?
I'm tired of going around this loop. I've already know this is a struggle. It's not working for me. It hasn't worked for me, right? So as you said, that I love is that identifying it, naming it. I'm in a loop and
Yeah.
I'm struggling. If we don't, then we just take it as that's my life.
Yeah,
In
but I
life,
think that
right?
the repetitiveness is really, it's just a pattern. It's not like, it shouldn't show you defeat. Just
No.
showing you, okay, this is something you keep doing over and over again, but you just need to shift it to something else.
Yeah. So, Kristen, you've been a math coach for almost 5-6 years now. I keep forgetting how many years. Yeah, 6 years. So, what does readiness look like before you start teaching math? Because every parent wants their child to learn math, right? Like everybody. Like if I have a child, I want them to learn math. But teaching somebody math when they're not ready, it's like learning a foreign language. You sit there, people are telling you words after words after. Like this morning, I was trying to learn Spanish. I put it on my YouTube, and I'm like, I'm going to work out and listen to words, right? By like 3 or 4 words, I got tired because because it was too much, and like I couldn't say some of the words. I was getting frustrated. I need to give myself some space. But I'm just saying example, right? And can you imagine children? It's like a learning a foreign language. Math is like that. So when they're not ready, when I'm not ready in the state to learn, I'm not in my focus or flow, and I feel very bad for not even knowing the math, and maybe I'm failing or I'm not doing well. I probably got my report card. All these things are happening around me. And then somebody says, let's learn math. They're not going to capture anything we say. It's going to be frustration, going to start to build very quickly. And that's why a lot of students, say, I hate math. Right?
Yeah.
So what do we need to do instead? Because this is what we do in our coaching, is that we don't start with the subject, because if we start with the subject, it's just frustration. They're just going to shut down even further.
Yeah.
So how do we bring them to readiness? What can we do to bring them readiness to?
I think definitely starting by building awareness and looking at what's going on first, because you don't want to just jump into something and say, like, let's try this. You really need a clear, full picture of what is going on in the whole child. That's why we're holistic neurogrowth learning success coaches. We have to look at the whole child, the whole picture, and including the family as well too. So
how many of us remember, right? How many of us remember a teacher? Like I could ask you as well, and the rest of the people who are watching, like, how many of you remember a teacher? Why do you remember them? If I asked you, why do you remember them? Is it because the way they taught you math or science, or is it the way they made you feel?
Oh, the way they made me feel, for sure.
So that made you feel did what to your body and to your nervous system and to your whole rest of the systems that runs us as a biological system? It made me feel safe, seen, heard as a person more than a student, because everybody treats us like you're just a student, just do your job. Just like a worker at a employee and an employer would treat us each other, right? So when a child gets seen, and when somebody like really makes them like, I can feel you, or I feel your attention on me for me to do well, they start doing well. So that's readiness, right?
Yeah.
That's readiness, is because I made the child ready. Like my teacher, I always talk about my ESL teacher who made me speak in school, right? Because I muted myself for years and years and years and years, and nobody noticed me. None of the teachers ever asked me to speak. Is the only teacher who asked me to speak is my ESL teacher, Mrs. Mayo. She looked into my eyes and said, I know you can speak. And I felt seen. Wow, she thinks I can speak. And I know I can speak. And I can speak. Right? So tell me, like, what does a child need when we're teaching math?
Well, I think they definitely need to be, like you had mentioned, feel like they exist, and it's not just like they're trying to regurgitate all this information at them because
Mhm.
that's not gonna help. They have to know there has to be this relationship where they feel trusted and that I'm there to guide them, but I'm not there to do the work for them or to just kind of quickly fix something. But they have to realize that, um, yeah, we're there to really lead them through this transformation to know that they can eventually do this on their own.
Yeah. And also, you mentioned earlier, like getting them to become aware that it's okay, math is hard, aware that you're feeling some anxiety around math, aware that when it comes to math, you kind of feel shut down. Your brain seems to be foggy. Explaining those things, the reaction that my body is experiencing, just understanding that, right? Because a lot of kids go through these anxieties on their own. Even I would ask my students, they would say, yeah, I knew all the answers, but when this test paper came to my desk, everything was blank. I tried to like figure it out and nothing was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happened? Because we never worked with their anxiety. We never talked about it. We never told them your body is going to react like this. How do you calm down your body to get the answers you already know? Because that child does know the answer to all those questions. It's there. But the fog
Yeah.
and the brain fog and all the anxiety will come dropping down, and all they could say is, I don't know this, I don't know this, I'm not good in this, I knew I shouldn't have taken this test, I don't know why I even came to school, I should have been sick today. How many of us called sick when we had a math test? Right?
Yes, for sure.
Acted sick at home? Yes. Or English test, right? So we never talk to our children or our students about how the system works, how this biological system is going to respond to a stressful situation. Test is a stressful situation. And nowadays, some school systems are not even testing kids because they're like, we're not going to test them because we don't want to induce anxiety on them. So we're just going to leave the test alone. And great. But real world actually will put stress. Have we walked out into the real roads and real world? It's going to put stress. So that is not good either, to completely take away the test and stuff. It's a good thing to test, but we just need to learn how to approach a test, because life is a test 24/7. It's happening to us,
Right.
right? In the real world, you're going to be tested. And then guess what? When you go to college or university, they're going to test you.
Right.
So taking test off in elementary or high school would not solve the problem, because we're going to get all these young adults going into university, college, and they're going to be frozen, and they're going to pay for it, and they're going to be blanked on tests. So readiness is so important, right? So important, so underestimated. The assumption that we should all perform has brought us to this point in in our life. Every one of us has gone through our own suffering, right?
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And it can end. So what changes first, Kristen? Confidence, clarity, or performance? In that order.
I
Which one
believe,
comes first?
I think confidence should definitely change first. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you can, because I think that's really based on readiness. Because if you can feel that confidence, then you feel ready to go. And then it's more clear to you about what you need to do next.
Yes. And then performance is the byproduct.
Yeah.
Performance is always the byproduct, but our culturally, society, as a society, we think performance is first.
Right.
We start with the performance. Why aren't you performing? Well,
The pushing.
push harder, try harder, right? So if a parent could only take one idea from your article, what it should be, the article you wrote in our magazine, from that, what would you like them to remember or take away?
One idea I really want them to take away and understand is struggle doesn't mean you have to feel defeated or broken. It's just indicating to you that something's not working and you weren't ready to do what you were trying to do with the way you were taught to do it. You need to really look at what's going on here. And struggle should never feel like a bad thing. I want people to realize that it's just a way to realize something's not working, and building some readiness will help you.
Yeah, and also, yeah, it's like a living machine, right? If it's struggling to work, what do we do with it? We know it's not working, so we need to help it become ready to work again. It's the same thing. We're a living system. We're a living machine. So if struggle is making me not perform in the way that I'm expected, that means I'm struggling. So my system needs some kind of alignment, and my system needs activation. Before all of that, we have to bring awareness, because if I'm not aware it's even happening, I'm clueless.
Right.
And then I'm going to just call myself all sorts of names, and I'm going to create this identity around and start having attitude through those identities that I've created, right? As youngsters, that's why young people have attitude, because they take on an identity to survive. They have to, because we're not teaching them that this living system needs to learn how to become ready. We have no education on this. So that's why all of us, then as later in our years, after exiting the school and university or college, we all need to do what? Personally develop ourselves again. Because we have all these names and all these labels and all these identities we have created, and we're living in so many loops. That's why we spend so much time in the past, because I got to go through all the loops I've created. And then when I think about my future, I'm really going to get some ideas from here, because this is the only inventory I have. My past is the only inventory I have. So I go here for my knowledge bank, and then I produce my story over here for the future. And I said, oh no, it's very scary. I don't even think I want that, right? So it's kind of a trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard. That's why it's suffering. That's why it's such a suffering to live that way, in that vicious cycles that we create, right? So Readiness OS ends that. So thankful that you contributed an article, even though life was happening in so many ways. So thank you. What do you say to parents about what is a sign that they can look at their child knowing that they're ready? Like, how can I tell my child's ready?
I think you can tell your child is ready when there is maybe less.
They don't need encouragement, right? Right? Your daughter, when she got up, she didn't need any reminders or encouragement.
Right. So less encouragement and more willing to be curious and
open to learning and excited. And there's this curiosity, that natural curiosity. Like, that's why we always say that childlike curiosity, right? The eye lights up and you're smiling and like, what's next? That's what I notice with my students when I start math. Like, I used to think I knew all the math codes when I came out of high school. I'm like, I'm going to share this. I'm going to solve everybody's math I hate problem. That's how I came out of high school. And then I started shifting all of my codes to them. And then they would look at me like, what is this? It's like, what are you talking about? Nothing was going into their head because they were blocked. They were stuck. And I thought the codes would help them. I forgot that when I was young, I was stuck and blocked too. And that never helped me. Nothing helped me at that point, right? So then I realized that, your system is blocked like I was. The codes are not going to help at this moment. So throw away the codes, throw away the math. Now let's figure out where you're blocked and bring back that curiosity. And then when they become ready and in this acceleration state, flow and focus, Then I bring the math. They're curious. They're actually solving with me. Like I'm not teaching them anymore with the math, right? You notice with kids when they're ready and learning, as parents too, you can see it. They're like they'll ask a question that's not part of the homework even. They're like, I want to know what happens like this. Like what if this number doesn't fit over here, or what if this number is this? Would it still work? They'll ask questions. They're involved. They're actively solving, not passively receiving information. Right? So there's this intrinsic hunger to learn. And it's beautiful to see when they're ready. Otherwise, we're just pushing and pushing. And then we sit there going, you're always like this. Why are you so lazy? Why can't you just learn? Like, why are you doing this? Like, you need to sleep more. You need to rest more. Like, you're just kind of not doing this work. We keep bringing in so many other things, except we don't see them as ready. So if we could all just shift and ask one question, right, Kristen? Is this person ready?
Yeah.
Are they in the state of flow? And when they're in the state of flow, it's very blissful. That's why flow. It's very like you're just flowing. Life is just simple. Life is going to happen, but you're still in flow because it doesn't affect you as it used to affect, right? So it's a beautiful place. So if you could watch out for that childlike curiosity, even in yourself or your others, and then that extra question that comes, that is not just finishing the homework, getting the homework done, but actually really invested in figuring it out. Like, how come though? Like, why though? These curiosity questions drives that homework even better, right?
Yeah.
Now we're enjoying. Like your sorry, there's a dog. like your daughter, instead of just putting the alarm and say wake up, I've already told you 2-3 times, wake up. Instead, you went into what does she like? What would please her? How can I get her to be, curious and get involved? She got immediately involved because you knew she likes food and she wants to eat. So it's beautiful.
Exactly.
And then on top of it, you explained to her all her systems and how it works and why sleep was necessary and how more sleep is important. If she needs more sleep, she needs to go to bed early, and we need to figure out a rhythm. So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Anything else you want to add, Kristen?
I just want to say thank you for letting me contribute to the article, and I'm thankful and grateful.
So Kristen is an amazing math coach. So what Kristen does, like all of our coaches, we don't start with the subject, because subject is nothing when the child's not ready. And those of you who have already tried to help your child to do math or English or writing or reading or anything like that, you know how hard it is and how many behaviors and how many excuses and how many movements and how many things they ask when they're not ready. That is not ready. That's the sign of not being ready. All of the things that you witness is a sign of not ready. When they're ready, they are active learners. They're active listeners. And they're going to even guide you in learning, because learning becomes enjoyable for both of you. So that is the sign that I want all of you to look at when you're seeing your child struggling in any of the loops Kristen has shared. They also have loops like us. Right? They have past memories. They also think about their past, and they also think about their future projecting. So if I've already failed multiple tests this year, a test is coming up. Guess what I'm afraid of? I'm projecting that test. That test is going to be like my past few tests that I've not done well. So at that point, you're trying to teach them something. They're not there. They're offline. Your child's not there. So that's why they can't learn. So we need to deal with what loops are running their mind, right? So important, so important. So how do you get access to Kristen's article? It's in the notes. It's in the comments. I actually put it a link. Just click that link, and then you need to type in the word flow, all capital FLOW. Flow, and you'll have access to the whole magazine, not only this magazine, but all of our magazines that we've done. This is our issue 8. So we've been doing this for a year and a half. And before it was called Parenting, Learning and Living. Now it is called Learning, Living, and Leading, because we have become a universal system. This works for any age, any stage, It doesn't matter any labels, because we do not care. We just want to look at your soul print biology, because we want to know how this system is doing, this person is doing, so that we can then look at it, what that struggle loop might look like for your child or yourself, and help you move towards flow. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your hearts and thumbs up. We love those. So Kristen, one more time, is there anything you want to add?
I just want to add that if you are struggling, remember, you're not broken. Just ask yourself and your child, are they ready? And be curious, and that will help you. Yep.
It's just a shift, right? Instead of going through the same loop again, but shift the language. Yes, awesome. Thank you. And I will see you tomorrow with another coach, because we have so many articles in this magazine. So I'm going to come back again tomorrow at the same time, and then we'll bring another coach. Thank you, and have a blessed night. Enjoy.
Thank you.